Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 56, and this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. So today I have 13 comics to talk about, 12 on the countdown, and one that is not on the countdown. And this is a show where I'll talk about worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. So let's get started. Let's talk about that honorary comic first, the one that didn't quite make the countdown. Not saying it's a bad book, I'll tell you why it didn't make it. And that's Zenescope's Grimm Fairy Tales issue 1. I haven't been really been reading Age of Darkness and the whole Realm Knights thing. I've read a couple issues here and there of Grimm Fairy Tales. I want to start reading Grimm Fairy Tales with issue 100 because it's a big landmark. I want to support Zenescope for that. So I bought the issue, and I didn't think it would be right to put it in the countdown or give a grade to it just because I didn't read Age of Darkness, so I don't have that background information to tell you, yeah, this happened to this happened to Robin Hood, this happened in Red Riding Hood. I can't say that. Because I haven't been reading Age of Darkness. So, I decided just to talk about the issue, just to kind of give an honorary mention about it. So, I like this. As a new reader, I had a fun time with it. You can see that the Grimm Fairy Tale universe is going to be changing a lot. By the end of this issue, you get to see all the universes collide. So it's just a big fight of all your fan favorite comics from Zenescope coming together as these Realm Knights and seeing this world collide together. So I thought that was a really cool cliffhanger. I do think this issue is a little pricey. I wish it was like $1 cheaper. $5.99. That's a lot of money for this issue. I mean, it's a good amount of pages, but $5.99 is a little expensive. I was a little surprised by that when I saw the price tag. But other than that, I did enjoy the issue a lot, and I'm glad I could support Zenescope. The art was great for it, and yeah, I'm excited for issue 101, which that will be counted in the countdown because it'll be a new beginning, hopefully a better jumping on point. So, to also say, issue 100 is not a jumping on point. I thought it would be just because it's like a landmark issue, but it's not a jumping on point. So I wanted to give a mention to that just because I did read it. I just didn't think it'd be right to put on the countdown. Alright, so let's start with number 12. My worst pick of the week is Batman Eternal. It's back there. Batman Eternal issue 15. Like, it was getting better and then it just crumbled. I'm not even saying this is a bad issue. Honestly, there really wasn't that many bad issues this week. There's actually a lot of good issues this week, which is I'm happy to see. With Batman Eternal, it's just characters I didn't care so much about. Like, Spectre was in this a lot. It's Spectre trying to find the magic around him, and he's teaming up with Batwing. That was like issues ago they were teaming up, and now this story's continuing. We can see a little bit with Batman, the new lieutenant, the guy who's replacing Jim Gordon. We get to see that they're kind of happy with each other. There's not a lot going on with that. You would think that would continue more because that's what we've been dealing with is Jim Gordon with the last couple issues. Now we get a filler issue. That's the best way to put it. It's a filler issue. We can see a little bit with Batgirl. She does not want to team up with anybody, but somehow ends up teaming with Batwoman and Red Hood to try to get her father's name back. So somehow she's teaming up with them, and also Red Robin is teaming up with Harper Row to try to figure out what this nanotechnology has to do with everything. Why are the people getting these nanotech viruses? And that's connected to Future Zen. The only thing that's really connected to Future Zen. So, yeah, I gave this 2.5 stars. I just thought this was very much a filler issue. Nothing really is going on, and the art is okay. This is the same artwork that everyone's shutting their eyes half the time. It's very shadowy. Not saying it's bad, it's just bulky, and the way they do the shadows aren't really that great. So, it's okay art, and the story was just very much a filler. So I don't think this is worth picking up. Not saying it's horrible. I've read worse from Batman Eternal, but it's not great either. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars, and that's number 12. Alright, number 11 is Future Zen, issue 11. These are like a tag team on the worst pick. It's really sad to say. I think Future Zen has been on the bottom more consistently. Batman Eternal is more of a roller coaster. Sometimes they have good issues, sometimes they have this week's issue. Future Zen, it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad of an issue. Again, there was no horrible issues this week. We get to see a little bit of Grifter's partner. He is holding this guy who didn't kidnap Grifter, but they just kidnapped him from a couple issues ago, so he's holding him. And Grifter's partner is going to be teaming up with Voodoo. We get to see Frankenstein and Alchemist, what's her name? Athamas, they're just talking. Seems like they're bonding, making a friendship. And that's what happens to her. That's it with the Frankenstein story. Mr. Terrific tries to out Batman Beyond, saying he's a bad guy. Watch out for him. So now that everyone knows that Batman Beyond's wanted. So that's going on with that story. And then my favorite story is Firestorm actually admits to the Justice League that he kind of killed Green Arrow, but Ronnie does not want to be Firestorm, and he runs off saying, hey, I want a normal life. And that's what happens with the whole issue. So I didn't think it was a horrible issue. Again, the art's pretty consistent. I like the artwork. Again, it's not the best artwork I've ever seen in my life, but pretty consistent art. But I don't love Frankenstein's story. That's like going nowhere. But it's interesting because, yeah, this series has a lot of characters. There's a lot of C-list characters here. Try to give spotlight to C-list characters. I understand that. And maybe you might think, oh, it's just because you don't like those characters. No, because I actually didn't really care for Firestorm, and that's the story I'm enjoying most, is Firestorm, or at least one of the most, because that's an intriguing story. From the beginning, it had a hook. With these other stories, they're just like really slowly progressing. Like Frankenstein's story. Grifter's story was okay, and that's kind of been going downhill, because nothing's been happening with them. There's no pull for these stories. Mr. Terrific was okay. Alright, he's trying to find Batman Beyond, but tell me more about Batman Beyond. Why is he important for this story arc? So that kind of upsets me about this series. It goes in a snail's pace, and I just want to be hooked on it, but there's nothing to be hooked except for this issue as the Firestorm cliffhanger. I did like that cliffhanger. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think I definitely recommend it more towards don't pick it up, but it's a 3-star book. It's not the worst of Future's End, but far from the best at also. Alright, so now we're up to number 10, which is Infinite Crisis, Fight for the Multiverse, issue 1. Not a bad issue. Again, nothing was bad this week. Nothing was, there's 2 issues that weren't great, but nothing was bad this week. With Infinite Crisis, this was more of a random pick I got. I really enjoyed Injustice Gods Among Us. I think it had good writing. It was, for the first time, a good video game tie-in. So I'm like, maybe DC will do it again and give us a really good video game tie-in. I heard some good things from people on Comic Frontline, my colleagues on Comic Frontline, that this book was, a fun read. So I didn't want to get it digitally. I want to get it printed. I usually like getting these books printed because I don't really like how small the chapters are digitally. So I got Infinite Crisis. It's not a bad book. I liked it. But I will say there wasn't a pull enough to say, let me get this next issue. I think that was the thing that I didn't love about Infinite Crisis. It feels like a big event that's obviously not a big event because it's not affecting the DC universe. It's affecting this Infinite Crisis universe and affecting the video game more. But if you want to learn more about the video game, you learn a little bit about this Harbinger character. I think we should have focused more on her for this issue, but we didn't. And Batman, like, being thrown into this world, finding out all these worlds are going to have a crisis, and he doesn't really know what to do because he doesn't really know the true problem. And he goes face to face with these other worlds, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Robin. So he's going to have to fight them and try to figure out how to save all these worlds together and not to have a crisis. So yeah, it was an interesting story, but there was nothing that said, oh, I'm going to definitely get this next issue. I just have too much on my pull list right now to get the next issue. But it was a fun first issue, and if you're like these type of things, if you like crisis stuff, I do recommend it for the people that do like these type of stories. And the artwork's pretty good too. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. It just kind of wasn't for me. That was the best way to put it. Alright, so now we're up to number 9, which is Original Sin, issue 6. I'm actually surprised that this is lower than I expected. I think because I hyped it up so much. This is the issue where we find out who killed the Watcher. I'm not going to reveal it here. I did reveal in my in-depth review, but I won't reveal who killed the Watcher here. But I will say, for me, as a non-cosmic fan, that's my only hint, I didn't love the reveal that much, because I didn't know much about the character, honestly. So it wasn't a shock for me, and it's just like, oh, you revealed it that way, you revealed the beginning of the story instead of revealing it to the Avengers, making it more dramatic. They didn't do it. It wasn't really a dramatic reveal, which let me down a little. But the Nick Fury story was interesting. Even though I'm not a humongous Nick Fury fan, I like that he wanted someone to replace him to kill people. And once all the superheroes said no, he's like, what? And he goes guns blazing, and he's gonna try to shoot them down. Say, well, you know what? Someone's gotta replace me, and that's it. And he's probably going to die this story arc. He is going to probably die in this event. But I like that he's going out with guns blazing, like I said. So yeah, I like the Nick Fury stuff. But I was disappointed with the actual shooter. So yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I liked it, but I think it could have been a little bit better. But for an event, I think it's a pretty good event. But, you know, it doesn't totally shock me as much as a lot of people have been loving it. But I don't really like procedurals as much, so that's why I'm not loving Original Sin as much as other people. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I thought it was an okay book. Alright, so now we're up to number 8, which is Teen Titans, issue 1. Yeah, so Teen Titans, I did give it a try, guys. And it wasn't a bad issue. I actually did like the issue. Kept an open mind throughout the whole entire experience. And I liked how the characters did work really well as a team in this issue. I guess because with Lobdell's series, they really hated each other towards the beginning. So now that they're working as a team, it feels a little bit more about the Teen Titans. It feels a little bit more familiar to the pre-New 52, but not, you know, not the characters. The characters are far off from the pre-New 52. Cassie, she's far off. Red Robin's far off. But I do like how they're working as a team, and I might be able to read issue by issue if it's going to be this type of style. And also, the opening, I would say, was a little bit generic. Is them trying to get these kids off a school bus. There's people watching the Teen Titans. You want to find out who's watching the Teen Titans. So nothing that totally hooked me for the story, but I did like that they worked as a team. I thought the artwork was pretty good. I'll give you an example of that. So it gives me a chance to give the next issue a try. I did say, hey, Kat, buy the next issue. So yeah, I like the issue. It's not the best thing I've ever read in my life, but it grabs me to get that next issue. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Alright, so we are up to number 7, which is 100th anniversary issue of the X-Men. Another pretty good issue. I liked it. I think this would definitely be in the middle between that Spider-Man issue and the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four being the worst, and the Spider-Man one being the best. Spider-Man's my hero. I love Spider-Man. He's one of my favorite characters. So, Spider-Man one I kind of enjoyed a little bit more, but I do love the X-Men, and I think that's why, obviously, I buy all these, because I like these characters. And I thought this was a pretty good 100th anniversary. We get to see Cyclops as the president, and by the end of this issue, things go back to the status quo. I won't say how that happens, but it goes back to the status quo, and I had a fun time with this book. Even though I'm not a humongous Cyclops fan, I liked it. You know, seeing a mutant as a president, that's a fun story to tell. So, artwork was pretty good. I think it's worth your money. I think it's a pretty cool one-shot. So, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I liked it. It was pretty good. Alright, so now we're up to number, pretty sure 6. Yes, we are up to number 6, which is Nova, issue 19. Yeah, another issue that I did like. Nova was a really solid issue this week. At first when I was just skimming through it, I'm like, I don't know if I'll like it. These random aliens are here. But most of this issue is actually Nova teaming up with Rocket, trying to find out who Sam Alexander's father truly is. And he was kind of evil. He was selfish, is the best way to put it. He was a selfish guy, and he wasn't a hero. And Sam finding that out really hurt him. He thought he was just a killer, but he was just a selfish Nova. And we learned a little bit more about the Nova history. And the team up with Rocket Raccoon was so much fun this issue. I thought Rocket was totally in character. Some of the stuff he said really made me crack up. And I thought the team up between those two were great. So I thought this was a really solid issue. I liked it. There's some intriguing story going on here. And it's a good Original Sin tie-in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more about Sam Alexander's father. And see if this is the truth. Is he really this guy? And is he alive? Is he a good father? You know, does he care for Sam Alexander? So I'm really intrigued by that, and I'm looking forward, hopefully, seeing Sam Alexander's father for the next couple of issues. So really solid issue, especially if you're a Rocket Raccoon fan. This is a pretty fun issue. Alright, so number 5 is Uncanny X-Men, issue 23. I was actually shocked how much I liked this issue. I haven't been loving Uncanny X-Men. Again, I'm not a big Cyclops fan, so I didn't know if I would love this issue. But the art change, which I thought the art was very abstract for Uncanny X-Men, didn't quite fit the book. And the art changed in a really good way. It became bright. I loved how simple it was. Really good artwork. And we get to see that Cyclops is still upset, of course, about Charles's death, and he's thinking about it. But we see what's going on in the regular status quo. You know, he's still the leader. He brings people back to the team. So regular status quo stuff going on in that team. And then Jen finds out, hey, I gotta read the Will and Testament of Charles Xavier, and we need to get Cyclops in the same room with the Wolverine and the X-Men team. So that's probably going to be the hardship of the next issue, but it will be fun, just seeing all of them in the same room. And what does Charles Xavier have to say? What does he have to say, and what is he going to give everybody? So really excited about that. If you miss Charles Xavier, I think this is going to be a really good story. This was a great setup. I liked it. Good art. Good setup. Very solid issue. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I'll definitely be getting the next issue, seeing what happens next. Alright, so number 4 is Harley Quinn invades San Diego Comic-Con, and this is a one-shot. I expected this would be a little bit higher. I like the issue a lot. Obviously, it's in my top 5. It was a fun issue. If you really liked issue 0 from Harley Quinn, this is kind of the same thing, breaking the fourth wall. And if you expect your experience at San Diego Comic-Con to be spoofed, it's not really spoofed that much. I think it's more Harley Quinn's experience, and you really have to take that for this issue. And I like that. You know, Harley got to meet Stephen Amell. She got to meet her creators, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini. She got to buy all her comics. So I had a lot of fun, Harley Quinn just invading San Diego Comic-Con. There's some jokes that fell flat towards the middle. It was a little lengthy, the book, but I had a lot of fun with it. I have been to San Diego Comic-Con. I haven't had a chance to go back because tickets are very hard to get. But it's really fun seeing it, either if you have been to San Diego Comic-Con or if you just know about the convention. I think they're going to have a good laugh with this, and if you're a Harley Quinn fan. So I'm going to give it a solid 4 stars. I think the artwork was a little off with some of the artists, like this one. Her facial expression looked a little weird. Art here was a little, I would say artsy, a little cartoony, so I didn't love the art there. But then there's the regular art that, like, for the regular issue you'll get. So it's a little mixed up, good art, bad art, or, you know, art subjective, so it might be good art for you, bad art for others. So yeah, I thought it was a good issue though. I'm going to give it a solid 4 stars. Alright, number 3 is Silver Surfer, issue 4. You know, this has always been a middle ground story for me. I was like, oh, you know, Silver Surfer, I'm enjoying it. It gives me some laughs. I like the story. I like the art. I do like Mike Allred's art. So I like all that stuff, but it's never been, you know, more than middle ground. I think it passed middle ground for me with this issue. I had a lot of fun with it. It's Norrin Radd going to Earth, meeting Dawn's family, and you know, Dawn learning a little bit more about Norrin. So I liked it. You know, we get to see Norrin eat the sea bisque thing, and he enjoys food. He's learning more about Earth, even though he thought he knew everything about Earth. And what I like about this series in general is that these two characters bring out something from each other, something that they might not have had. Like, again, Silver Surfer being more grounded, and Dawn not being so grounded, getting away from home. So I like it. I like their little team up. I like their chemistry, and it worked really well here when Silver Surfer goes back to Earth, and he might not be able to get off of Earth. So I really like this issue. Great art, great. It's a fun issue. I liked it. So I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed this one. And again, I think it just left middle ground book to become a book that I enjoy reading every month and look forward to. Alright, so now we're up to number 2, which is Miss Marvel, issue 6. Love Miss Marvel. Come on, guys. This is such a good book. If you're not reading Miss Marvel, if you want a fun character, a fresh character, read Miss Marvel. Her origin story just ended, and with this we get to see Miss Marvel become a hero, meet Wolverine, and try to defeat this villain that was in her origin story that was bugging her best friend's brother. So yeah, we really get to see her as a hero, getting the costume out of the Circle Q, and just being a grounded character. So I really liked it. I thought this was a good issue, and I especially love the Wolverine team up. I know a lot of people was like, oh, well, Wolverine's so nice, he's friends with everybody now. That used to not be true, and he used to gravitate more towards people that were innocent and like Camilla, and he did that here, and I loved, like, oh, Wolverine said, I like the spunk in you, and Camilla's like, well, we both have a healing factor, let's be the twinsies. So, I just thought the chemistry worked really well here. The team up was perfect. The art actually improved, too. I'm not saying I didn't like the art from the first story arc. I think it was just different, and at first I actually thought I wasn't going to like this art style because of the mask. I was like, oh, but you don't really get to see her eyes, but it really worked for this story. Again, just another fun issue, another fun edition of Miss Marvel. I gotta give this 4.5 stars. If you also like Wolverine, you're gonna really like this too. The art is good. Read this. If you're not reading Miss Marvel, it's such a good series. So I'm gonna give that 4.5 stars. So number 1 is Elektra. Yeah, Elektra made number 1 again. I think this is such an under-the-radar series. Miss Marvel is under-the-radar series too, but I think people are talking about how under-the-radar is. With Elektra, no one's even talking about how under-the-radar this is. And for me, I love character stories. That's the stories I love the most. And with Elektra, you really get to go into her head. And with this issue, you truly get into Elektra's head. The narration for the story is so good. The artwork fits the series perfectly. And I don't think this artwork could fit many series, but it fits Elektra very well. And we get to see that Elektra could have had a different life. Maybe if her mother didn't die, she could have been normal. But she's like, I am an assassin, I gotta deal with that. And there's this Bloodlip guy that I have to defeat. And we learn more about Bloodlip, where he's actually an interesting villain now. So, with this, I like that it's not whiny. I think a lot of superhero, anti-hero books, it's very whiny. When they're like, oh no, I'm a villain, but I want to be a hero. I was a hero, but I'm a villain. Scarlet Spider is that number 1 series. But with Elektra, she knows that she's not perfect, and she's not trying to be a hero, and she's not trying to whine about being a hero. She's an assassin, she's got to do what she's got to do. And I liked her mind frame so much in this series, and it's perfect. I love, again, the narration makes this series so good, and this issue gets into her head. Love it. I had to highlight this. Great issue. Read Elektra. If you like the character, you semi-like the character, read Elektra. It's such a good book. That is my number 1 pick. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and their end situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And please tell me in the comments below what comics you liked this week, what you disliked. Tell me what you thought. And this is Comic Uno, Comic Frontline. And I will see you guys later. Bye.